Hello, I'm Michael Gilligan with Seek Common Ground. Welcome to this 5-minute synopsis of a 45-minute talk we had on the benefits of co-designing research, focusing on youth-led and directed programs. There's a link to the full talk right up here. And at the end of this video to watch the entire conversation. You can check out all of our talks at youtube.com/Seek Common Ground. Thanks for watching.
What counts is hard to be counted. And the irony of that phrase when we're talking about especially measuring like educational impacts in a school where literally nothing matters unless it counts, and everything that we value about students shows up as a GPA with to the 100th decimal power.
Part of our ongoing challenge is that a lot of the work that happens in these after school, out of school time spaces is deeply socio and relational. And I've come to be sort of convinced that what counts is very hard to be counted.
As an organization that works with middle schoolers, we want to make sure that our programming is effective. And so we want to evaluate it. We want to be able to show clear and exciting outcomes to our funders, to the general public, and to create great outcomes for middle schoolers, because all of our programming ultimately is focused on how do we lessen inequality in public institutions and in social spaces. And so I think a lot of times people could connect the dots on what that means and in terms of making certain types of experiences available to a broader audience, or doing that in tangible programmatic ways.
My research sort of area of interest over the last 4 years and then long before this is inequality and how inequality is produced through both micro social interactions and through broader public social institutions. My work even though it's housed in the university, is really driven by this notion of community-based research. And that takes different forms, but broadly speaking, what it looks like is that I sort of start my guiding inquiry or interest in the communities in which I'm working.
Process of learning how and actually doing the evaluation is what we're after as a product itself.
I think sometimes that we confuse the symptoms and the substance, and we end up measuring symptoms instead of substance. So we measure things like attendance, and we measure things like certain types of engagement, when really it's what we want is not a kid showing up somewhere. We want a kid, when they show up, being able to meaningfully engage with what they're showing up to, right?
Broadly speaking, to seeing diversity as a resource rather than a problem to be solved. And young people as that too, I think we would have some more maybe creative ways to solve some of these persistent problems. How can we basically break down or backwards design that sort of relational pedagogy in a way that can be measured, counted, and shown, both for the training and organization of those programs, and as an effect in the short term and long term on what's working. I think recognizing that we both have to democratize spaces and research, and also decolonize spaces and research, is something that should be guiding the work we do.
How we create the evaluation so that we're inviting students into that creation process, like you're doing at KSV. It means the delivery of the evaluation should be developmental, and then it means that the reflection on the evaluation should be developmental. Like, it all has to be viewed through a developmental lens, and not just as, did we succeed or not? Did we document